Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Dyslexia Connect online tutoring dyslexia blog. Welcome. Today I thought I would talk about dyslexia and difficulty with short words. Difficulty with small words is a very prominent symptom of dyslexia, and it's probably also one of those symptoms that's extremely exasperating for parents. So the way this works is often a child with dyslexia will be reading, and they may be reading something decently, getting along fairly well in the sentence. They may read a few difficult words in a row correctly, and all of a sudden they'll stumble over the word for example. They may say from, or just be completely stumped by how they're supposed to pronounce it. And people often wonder, what in the world's going on here? Why were they able to read this two-syllable word, this three-syllable word right before that, and all of a sudden they get to a simple one-syllable word and they're frozen by it. They're not sure how to approach it, they have a hard time with it, and they just stop. So this is kind of a mystery, and of course there are many mysteries about the dyslexic mind still, and brain science these days is telling us much more about how dyslexia works, of course, but there are still some mysteries about how the dyslexic mind perceives language, and this difficulty with short words is one of those things that still probably has not been explained perfectly. Eventually we might know why dyslexics struggle so much with short words, but for now we just have to accept that this is one of very, very common symptoms of dyslexia. An important thing to realize is that this is very normal for a student with dyslexia, and also it is not an indication of laziness or regression. Sometimes when a dyslexic student is reading and they're going along fairly well and reading fairly advanced words, and all of a sudden they get to a short word and they just freeze, or they mess it up or have trouble with it, a parent might think that a student is just being lazy. And in fact, with a student with dyslexia, this is often not the case. They just simply are stumped by that short word. Also, difficulty with short words should not be seen as being a sign that the student is regressing with their reading or not making progress forward, because it's very, very common. And in fact, even students who have become fairly advanced readers, if they've been in dyslexia tutoring for a bit and they've made a lot of progress and are reading pretty fluently and reading high-level material, they might still have difficulty with short words. They may be reading something that's fairly complex and they'll get through a four-syllable word and all of a sudden they'll stumble over a three-letter word. This is just a very common symptom. We have to realize that it is such and not the sign of either laziness or a sign that the student is regressing in their reading and going the reverse direction from where we want them to be going with their reading skills. So it's very important to realize that. Now, if you're working with a student, working with your child, for example, and they are dyslexic, and you're reading with them, and you are witnessing this trouble with short words, the important thing is to be patient and encouraging with them. So if they're going along and they all of a sudden stumble on a really short word, the best thing to do is just to encourage them to use the skills that they're hopefully learning. Their phonetic rules, their phonetic sounds that they're learning, their syllable rules. So for example, if they're going along and they stumble over the word for, should mention here just as a side note, one very common symptom you'll see is when a dyslexic student reads the word for as from and the reverse. This is extremely common. So you'll see them reversing those two words quite often. That's a very common symptom. So if they stumble over the word for example, a good thing to do is just be patient and encouraging with them and remind them to apply their knowledge that hopefully they're gaining in instruction, either at dyslexia tutoring or somewhere. Apply their knowledge and read the word. So you could ask them, well, do you remember what the F says? And they would say, well, the F says F. Do you remember what the OR combination says? That says or. Have them put it together, and that spells the word for. And that may seem very, very basic, of course, but by constantly reminding them to use those skills that they're acquiring, you're helping them develop good habits that they're going to be able to apply when they have difficulty with big words or short words. So we want to get them the habit of using those skills all the time and applying their knowledge instead of guessing or just freezing when they see something that they're a little bit confused about or just giving up. We don't want them to do that. We want them to be bold and keep applying their knowledge and move forward and keep making progress. An interesting thing about this issue, this is one of the main reasons why it's very difficult to assess the reading grade level of a student with dyslexia. Often parents will ask us, well, what grade level is my student at right now? And unfortunately, with dyslexia, most of the time there's not really a good answer for that. And the reason is that the typical outcomes that are used to assess a regular student in their reading don't necessarily apply to a student with dyslexia. And the reason being is that a student with dyslexia, as I just mentioned, may read a sentence with complex words all the way through correctly, and then they'll suddenly stumble over a three-letter word. Might be the word for, might be the word top, anything like that. And so as a result, it's very difficult to say across the board that, well, this dyslexic student is at a 3rd grade level, 4th grade level, 5th grade level. And so it's important not to I guess, put too much stock in grade level when you're trying to address a dyslexic student's issues. The main thing you want to be concerned about is that they're getting the help they need and that they're making progress. We want them to be able to make progress, and we want them to be moving ahead. That's the important thing. And you also need to realize that when they take reading grade level tests at school, if these tests are not specifically geared towards students with dyslexia, they're probably not going to be indicative of exactly how the student is reading or how the student is spelling as well, because some of those same issues can apply. So those are some things to keep in mind. Well, thank you for watching today. If you're interested in learning more about dyslexia or would like to check out our online dyslexia tutoring program, you can visit us at www.dyslexiaconnect.com. You can also connect with us on Facebook and Twitter. If you like these videos, you can go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel to get videos in the future. And if you have any questions or comments, I always love to answer those, so please feel free to post any questions or comments you have, and I'll try to answer those questions as best I can. So thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye-bye.